I need to write something on my arm. Shit,
And leave my phone.
All right, let's call our meeting to order at 6:30.
I can't remember to get my phone.
Let's all stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Gary, would you say the pledge, please? Pledge. Right.
Jeff, I think Jeff was going to do that.
Jeff's going to do it? Okay, Jeff.
Thank you. So God, we thank you so much for this group of friends that have gathered here tonight, and we're just trusting, God, that you're going to keep your hand on us while this crazy weather passes by, because your hand is in all things. And Lord, we thank you that we're all here in one accord, that we all want the same effect, we all want the same outcome. And Lord, we just thank you for the dedication that the outgoing council members have given to this city. And we thank you, Lord, for the volunteerism of our new council. Yeah. We ask you, Lord, that you bless them on their way out and their continued sage advice for this council. We ask you to bless them on their way in and to have your way in this meeting tonight. Bring us together as one. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. So roll call starting with Jeff.
Jeff Thibodeau, Ward 3.
Lonnie Clayton, Ward 2.
Sherry Mitchell, Mayor.
Doug Emmons, Ward 2.
Jim Wright, Ward 3.
Bud Marandino, Ward 1.
Gary Watson, Ward 1.
Let the record show we're all present today. Any conflict of interest statements? Any citizens' comments?
None have been turned in, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to our consent items. Up for consent items are financial reports for city side and public works, utility innovations, and our previous minutes. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Was this the thing where we don't have any?
Correct. These are all consent.
Okay.
All right, we're going to move on to number 7. These are review to approve action items. Up for consideration, approval, and discussion. Resolution regarding the redesignation of city ARPA funds. Can I have a motion?
A motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
As far as I would like to discuss.
Go ahead.
Are we all aware of what the American Rescue Plan Act is? And my question is, were those funds allocated already?
Yes.
And
Yes.
has the city been notified how much those funds are? And what those funds were being used for?
The original funds were, I'm not sure what that amount was, but it was established. This is funds that were, have gone unused, dedicated to public works. And the purpose of this resolution is to release those funds into the public works for unspecified use.
All right,
And your I believe that write-up in there should address that.
Yeah, so my question is, we know that are we aware that the deadline is December 31st, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so have we voted on what those funds are going to be used for?
We do not have to do that by this. The purpose of this motion is to be able to release those funds into our use into public works without having to designate that. If we were going to specify those, then yes, we would have to meet that. Now, Sabrina might can correct me on that.
There's a supporting document, which is an email from Kobe,
Yes, I read that.
that basically says that the funds are going to be considered what they call a revenue loss. So we don't have to pick and choose what projects we're going to use for this money. So it's just going to go into the account that we choose. And that's what the resolution's for.
So we don't know specifically
No
between
specific.
now and December 31st what we're going to use those funds
We just have to move the
for?
funds to where we want to put
We
it.
don't,
Yeah,
vehicles are being moved to
public
the
works.
public works account, which they don't have to be moved to the public works account. I talked
Correct.
with DPA, so they can be used for either side.
There are 10 items that I read that these funds can actually be used for.
So now that y'all are undesignating them, they can be used on whatever the county
Right, and
decides.
so
And
can-
it does not have a deadline.
So can I actually move to actually revisit this and we can decide what we can do with the rest of those funds?
Well, we've got a motion on the table that needs to be voted on.
Actually, at this point, we can't. I mean, if we go ahead and vote on this resolution to move the funds, you can vote no. So that's about the only action we can take
Okay,
this time.
that's fine.
Yeah. So before we were talking about, doing driveways and things like that. That's before we actually had the email to back us up from the grant administrator saying that we don't have to use them for certain
Well,
projects.
as a councilman, I would love to know how much money we still have to actually,
140? Yeah, it's
140,000?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the initial amount that was granted to us?
301 and some change.
Correct.
Okay,
And this is just leftover residual funds.
correct.
So, just for, I think for further clarification, it was our understanding that we had to do something by the 31st, and so we were looking for projects, but now that date has been relieved, so we can now put them into the general fund.
Yes, and we had done that. We had identified a number of projects, even some that had already been done.
That's that email that says we don't have to have that
Correct.
done by the deadline. That relieved us of pressure.
Any more discussion?
Yes, I think we need to know where the money's gonna go.
And there, from,
You're gonna move
just
it.
from my reading, it was actually 10 million at least, that was actually issued to the state of Texas, and to the city, not to our city specifically, because we fall underneath the 50,000 threshold of population, so we actually got less amount. But there were actually parks and improvement projects that this money can be allocated for. Purchasing equipments that we talked about, so we won't have to rent others whenever we need projects done in the city. Also, supplies for daily operations, that money can be used for that. Road and building maintenance, health services, and environmental remediation. That's why I'm concerned, because there's a list of things that we can actually do with this money.
Well, right now, this resolution
Instead of tying
is,
it up into,
right, but right now, this resolution is basically giving the city the authority to utilize the funds, and then we can bring it back to council, let's say in January with the new people, and then we can say, okay, this is what we want to use the money for.
okay.
We have to basically have a paper trail in this to say, this is released to us, now we can actually use it. So, I mean, I agree, I mean, we do need to do certain things with it, but it's not going to be commingled with other funds.
Okay.
Well, then again, okay, that went all around the question that I asked.
Okay.
Okay, so where specifically are we gonna move those funds to? Because it's, Jim's saying public works, okay? Meaning that, I think I don't know, I'm trying to say what I think Jim meant, was it can be used for umbrella public things, including the city side, not just, see, we have a public works side and a city side. So not meaning just for public works, but for the entire city that it can be used for. So would that money need to be put into a separate account so that we could track it and not commingle it, like the mayor just said that we're not gonna commingle it. If we're gonna put it in another account, then we're gonna commingle it. If we're gonna put it into an existing account, that would be commingling.
So we already have an account for the ARPA funds. I talked to Charlotte on Thursday or Friday, and she suggests that we leave it where it's at right now, but that resolution is basically unrestricting them to where y'all can use them for whatever you would like on the city or the public works side. But this resolution has to be done in order for y'all to do anything else.
I think the resolution, in my opinion, the resolution needs to be done, absolutely, because we don't want to lose the money. That's a no-brainer. But I think we should leave the money, as the accountant said,
In the ARPA
leave
funds.
it in that one account so we can still identify that we have this much money left, and we don't put it in the account with the Public Works that has 500,000 in it, and we don't put it in the general fund for the city that has X amount in it, and then the next thing you know, we don't know what happened to that money. I mean, that way we can really utilize that money, we can split it, we can talk about it, we can split it up.
I don't think there's any disagreement on doing that. That was the whole purpose to begin with of this resolution being in there. With the point being is what we've been working on the last 2 months was identifying items that we could use to spend that money on. Some of them even back in retrospect where it was the chlorine modification system and some of those others, and rather jump through our tail and find places to spend money on that we really may not need to spend it on, just to spend the money.
Right.
It's better to put this, to be able to get this released to us and not have to give it back to the government.
Right.
And that way, we've got it, and we can identify it. If we can legally transfer it to the Bevil Oak City, or if we can use it for whatever we need to, raising the booster pumps or buying a new lift station pump, or whatever it is that we deem to be necessary, this will give us time to plan that and effectively use that money to our best advantage, rather than jump through hoops and charge it off to checking for lead, which we got to do anyway.
But can we leave it in?
It's gonna
can we-
stay in the
Yeah,
ARPA fund
yeah,
account.
yeah, it'll stay identifiable.
Yes.
So what you're looking at, you're looking for traceability.
Yeah,
Whether-
Yeah, that's no
to
problem
where,
with that,
you know, we
yeah.
got this much money right here, and then when we come back in December, hopefully.
Because we were, if you recall, we were talking about improving the parking lots with that money and doing
That's
some
right,
work
that's
there
right.
too, so.
But we were just throwing
Trying to
stuff
spend
out
it.
there.
Yeah,
But the money right now is in the ARPA account. It can stay there.
It can
But
stay
we
there.
have to do the resolution to release it to the city.
And that's what
If we
we
don't
want.
do the resolution,
That's
then
what we're doing
we're gonna
tonight.
lose it.
whether it goes on the balance sheet and, you know, I'm sitting here looking at Public Works, it's gonna go and operate cash or whatever it is, we could still have a line item, I would assume the county can make for that to say whatever it is we want to. Or we could say it's Jim and Bud's money on our line sheet if we want to.
Water
I'm
tower.
only saying that to appease Bud.
I'm just saying, what's the difference in leaving it in there, and that way we have it, and once we use it up, it's gone.
Because you're taking it out of a grant and putting it on our balance sheet, it's just pencil whipping, but that makes it our money without any worry of
No,
having
you're
to give
missing
it
what
back
she,
to the government.
you're
But
missing
the-
what she said.
the
She said that
resolution
Charlotte
is-
said that we can leave it in that ARPA account. We don't have to remove it. I think what you're saying, Jim, is we gotta remove it from that account and put it in another account in order to be able to claim stake on that money. We don't have to do
Right
that.
now, no matter where it is, it's restricted funds. We can't touch it no matter what. The resolution unrestricts it, gives us the ability to use it, and it can stay in the account that it's in. That's all we're doing, is the formality to unrestrict the
Unrestricted.
funds, to make the funds belong to the city.
Can I
Go
give
ahead.
you guys a little bit of,
Yeah. Make it
I'll
simpler.
take a little step back on the use of these funds. When the government started making these funds available, we had a very difficult time using them, because in response to the COVID-19 matter, you had to show, did employees lose time? Was it a specific public health? But when the government realized that that was not actually helping do the work that needed to be done, they released ARPA funds, which had virtually no reach. To ask for it, you had to designate certain things, but the restrictions were much broader. But importantly, one of those was revenue loss, meaning because of what happened, the city lost revenue. So we got the money very quickly, very easily, because we didn't have to do all those other hurdles. However, they were specifically designated for ARPA funds in a very narrow, conservative view of, all right, we need to segregate these funds. So what y'all are discussing is something it's an accounting issue, not a use issue. This resolution is just the use issue that we're validating. Look, we lost a lot of money. We're going to use it to replace the money we lost. Before we said we're going to have to, when we receive those ARPA funds, we will designate to specific items. We're changing that. The secondary issue is the accounting lens that we're looking at it. What do we do with those funds, and that is what line items are on. That's different. Whatever y'all want to do, y'all can call it the, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious fund on the line item deal, and it's segregated, and it's able to be tracked, but it doesn't matter. So do that. But we need to make the decision now that there are monies for general use, because ARPA allows that. We need to do it legally split. So that's basically it. There's a legal issue, there's an accounting issue. Ignore the accounting issue for tonight. Let's pass, I would highly recommend we pass this for the legal designation. Otherwise, we put unnecessary handcuffs on the use of this fund. Y'all will spend the money well. You're not going to approve projects that aren't justified. Let's wait for that. But that fund will be sitting there in the line item separated ARPA fund, but it's legally not an ARPA fund.
You can technically use that without touching the budget money first on items.
It effectively becomes the budget money, but we're a little bit more deliberate about it. It's like, oh wait, we have this little $140,000 that's our budget basically for the year. But if this $140,000 sitting here, let's use it for that. But it's a little bit more deliberate about it.
Preferably we'd use it for funds that weren't in the budget. That's like, I don't know if we budgeted the parking lot.
Right.
We maybe, I don't know what's in the budget for that, but.
Make this decision, no restriction.
Yeah.
You can put it in a different fund so you know when you're spending it.
But either way, spending the money would have to be brought to city council for city council's approval, no matter where this money is.
Yeah, wherever it's at, so it doesn't matter what designation it is. Y'all have like 40 different line items, funds. I mean, yes, you can have 41.
Yeah.
Well, it's already 41. It's already in ARPA thing, so it's not making another one, it's just keeping it as is.
But it has a bookmark on it that we're removing with this resolution.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next item up for consideration is B, and this is something that Bud brought up, is to host a fall cleanup. Any discussion?
Well, I'll
Tell me more.
okay, yeah, here's the deal. I called the Republic. The lady said that she could provide us 2 dumpsters. I thought, first of all, we were supposed to have a meeting last Thursday, and then, of course, that got postponed, and we weren't able to do it. So now we're having the meeting tonight, okay? Well, I talked to the lady. We got to looking at the schedule, the Thanksgiving, all the stuff that I'm going to have to do, that I'm not going to be available. And the only reason I was trying to do it around me is so I can be there with the dumpsters and, help load them and pack them or whatever with my tractor. So I don't have to be there. So we decided that the date that I set up with the lady is to have 2 30-yard dumpsters delivered. She waived some fees and stuff, and it ended up being $1,120. Is that right? $1,120?
$560 per load,
Yeah.
$560 a piece.
2 loads.
$1,120. Okay, so $1,120 for 2 30-yard roll-offs. That was them bringing them out in the morning, whatever time they bring them, 7, 8 o'clock, whatever time it is, until they're full, and then pick them up and haul them out of here. And so that was just to give the citizens a chance to get rid of, mattresses or whatever bulk items that they have. That's up to these, it was brought up about the date, and I said, well, that's up to these 5 guys here. I mean, if y'all even want to do a fall cleanup, first of all, if you don't want to do one, that's fine too. I just tried to find out if we could get dumpsters. The next date that I have available is December the 7th, that I could be here on a Saturday. And then planning that far out, I don't know that I would be here.
But is Laura gonna be able to do it on the 7th?
We haven't asked her.
She did approve the 23rd.
That's right. Go ahead.
As long as you're gonna be there, make sure it's not
Well, I was gonna be there the whole time. That's what I was planning on doing, was being there to keep people from throwing tires in them and stuff, where we end up with them dumping the dumpster in the,
Street.
yeah, because if there's a bunch of stuff in there, paint and stuff, that they can't take to the dump, they'll dump it out. I mean, I would dump it out. I mean, if people put the wrong stuff in there. So,
I'm just wondering if this is the right time of the year for another dumpster. When was the last time we had one?
The garage sale,
And that was
No.
April, May.
we typically tried to do a spring and a fall cleanup.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it don't matter to me.
Jeff, I
just-
don't think we had dumpsters when you
The
guys
dumpsters will
did
be over there
this
across from the
year's
park
garage sale,
on the
did you?
pipeline right away.
Had two of them.
We've tried other places, and trust me,
That
that
always
don't
works.
work.
That's
I
worked good
just-
in the past.
My only concern, I'm just wondering if the 23rd is actually gonna be enough time to get the word out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's
So-
up to y'all. Like I say, the meeting was gonna be last Thursday, we didn't get to do it, so, I mean, this is left over from last week, so we lost 3 or 4 days of notice. I mean, I don't know. That's up to everybody else.
I know when we did it last time, those two dumpsters filled up quick, fast, and in
Yeah.
a hurry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And I believe that they would fill up quick, fast,
Yep.
and we'd be out of there by 10:30, 11 o'clock, I mean, they'll be done.
Without that,
As long as you don't have a problem with people dumping it,
Huh?
overfilling them and
That's why I'm gonna be
Yeah,
there.
that's why
It's
he's
not
there.
gonna be
Yeah,
overfilled.
somebody's gonna be there.
That's why I talked to her and said specifically that those dumpsters cannot, under any circumstances, be left overnight. I cleaned that one up in front of that, well, some of us did, in front of that city hall that time when we put it over there and left it, man, that was a mess. You don't wanna do that. People stacked stuff up all around it, and glass was all over the place. It was terrible. So, wind was blowing, paper blowing down the street. I mean, we're not gonna do that.
You know, personally, I think it's always good money well spent. I'm just wondering if this is the time of year to do it. I've got stuff I could throw in it, that's for sure, just combining the two houses, so.
It's up to whatever y'all just think. What do y'all think?
I mean,
Christmas after everybody's gotten all these big boxes and stuff like that.
We can,
I
getting
think,
rid of
I think
stuff
it would be
right
very
now.
feasible to, I mean, as, you know.
Y'all wanna
to
wait,
Well, I mean, I would say just do a quick survey on your page. I mean, seriously.
Man,
And that gets the citizens, I mean, that's a good way to find out.
People are doing cleanup right now, getting ready for the new stuff in
Can't do
Christmas.
surveys.
You can't
You
do
know,
city
the-
business on
The problem
website.
with
All right.
doing it after Christmas, kind of like Roger said, is that if everybody starts putting all those boxes in there, you fill that thing up pretty quick with stuff that you can burn in your backyard pretty easy.
yeah.
It's like metal stuff and junk that, you know, that you can't get the.
Desk,
the public
beds,
to pick up.
mattresses, box springs, it's the bulk items that we can't, the
The public
people
won't
won't
pick
pick it up,
Yeah.
But although we, no tires, no.
Being
no
that we have a
paint.
short window to actually do this, you wanna do just one dumpster?
No,
You wanna do
You
both?
need
you're
to.
gonna do it. I
Do it-
mean,
yeah,
we
do
need
it
to
right
do
to do
two.
it.
I mean, we can table this until we have a better date, but
We
you
can,
guys have to
y'all wanna
decide.
wait till after the first of the year or something? It
Table
don't
it-
matter to
table
me.
it to spring.
I really kinda hate to do it December the 7th, is that what we said?
Yeah.
So,
Man, it starts getting into some
Yeah.
activities.
I make a motion, we just postpone this until spring. I mean, I
Well,
like
we
the
got a
idea.
motion.
No, I'm
We got a
with you, I'm
motion
with
on
you.
it.
It don't matter to me. I just try to find out how much it costs and when we
After
can
the
do it.
first of the year, we'll have two more free.
That's true too. That's a good consideration.
You got.
And we'll have another garage sale.
I mean, if we wait till spring and we do it, we'll have 2 free ones. We'll still probably, you still have a fall one anyway, so I mean,
We have a motion to table this.
Do we have a motion on the floor for this one?
We have a motion to table.
who made that motion?
Doug Emmons.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor to table?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Got me out of.
All right, our next item up for consideration, discussion, and approval is the suspending ordinance 240 until the ordinance can be updated. Jeff, you brought this to the agenda. I'll have you start off,
Okay.
and then I'll
Whoa, whoa.
ask Drew.
Let him do his
Let-
presentation.
yeah, let him bring it.
So the reason I wanted to suspend ordinance 240 is because there are many different interpretations of this ordinance, and I think the council, as a council, we should decide on where we want to land on signs. I'm all for the banning of peddlers coming out here and just posting their signs like a politician does. But even the politicians have rules on their signs. I don't want to come out on the Sweet Gum and see, lose weight now, ask me how, signs all the way down Sweet Gum. But I believe that there are legitimate uses for signs if we're having a swimming pool installed and we're happy with our contractor. We should be able to display in our yard, outside of whatever right-of-way there may be, that this pool company is doing my work. I shouldn't have to have a fear of my contractor calling me saying my sign's gone. If I'm having my house painted, if I'm putting cabinets in at Lonnie's house and he's happy with my work, there should be no reason, if Lonnie wants my sign in his yard while I'm doing work at his yard, there should be no reason for that to be prohibited. And if that is what we're trying to accomplish by this ordinance, it needs to be restructured. So, does anybody have any feelings, any discussion about ordinance 240 and suspending it, and suspending the enforcement of it until we can get it updated?
Yes.
Why not,
Yeah, wait a minute. You cannot suspend an ordinance for update. You draft the updates to update the ordinance.
Is that correct, Drew?
that was gonna be what I was about to
That's all
say.
pretty much what I was gonna say.
I mean, instead of suspending it, let's rewrite it, but let's leave it in place as it sits until we get it rewritten, and then we
That's what
can
you have to do.
revise it.
Okay, so that's why we brought it up for discussion. That's good stuff. Now, has anybody read this ordinance recently?
I read
Oh,
it
yeah.
today.
Okay. Okay, and
Confusing.
it is confusing. It is confusing. And if I may, I can spend just a couple of minutes on the opening page of that ordinance.
When was it
1 through
drafted?
21.
Can you say that?
It was drafted in,
2014.
Becky signed it, it was in 14.
I might have a piece of that.
Just a quick history. It was because we had tons of people coming in here, going door to door, and we needed something fairly quickly, and most of the folks that legitimately are searching for neighborhoods to do that type of marketing look to the city ordinances, and once we passed it,
It stopped.
so that's why that was. So, I mean, I certainly, go through all of them, that's what we do here, go through all of the phrases and all that, but that's why I did it. And if y'all don't, like, we used to have, well, people selling CDs and all sorts of sketchy, but like, this stuff's, that's what it was focused on.
Okay.
So the unintended consequences are being realized, but I'll also say I probably only have to send a letter regarding this maybe once every 2 years. It is not one that I have to enforce a lot.
Okay, so question for the legal counsel. If I'm getting a swimming pool installed at my house, does this ordinance, the way it's written, prohibit me from having his sign in my yard?
Okay, so it's been 10 years since
Okay.
I worry about that.
Well, let me just refresh.
Let me take also a step back. No one complains to me or to the office about a contractor installing a pool, putting a sign out while they're constructing a pool. Like, I've never had to do it. We had that one on Sweetgum, the Excella Homes one that we utilized that technology. In 10 years, that's probably what we've used. That's probably it.
Okay.
Mainly
I mean, I'm
because
just sort of telling you,
he was in the utility easement too.
Well, there's the practical reality of this, I'm just sort of telling you, as the person who writes letters for this, it rarely happens. And so, look around and see all the signs, if there's not a problem with the signs, and there's not a complaints about, from contractors not being able to put their signs, then they're probably using their signs, not getting complaints.
That's where we're going with this.
Well, I can always receive guidance from the city council on the level of aggression I use to enforce it. And in 10 years, it hasn't been a problem. I mean, I'm just sort of providing some perspective on, we have the law, and it typically is used to address problems. I haven't received problems, except for the Excel one a year or so ago.
It's on a pick and choose
And
basis,
that's
which I don't like.
about it.
So,
A law needs to be
so
cut
on
and dry.
on the opening statement, it's regarding regulating itinerant vendors and solicitation. And this is all in your packet as well. It says, the purpose is to provide rules and regulations, peddlers, itinerant vendors, and solicitors within the city. It says a peddler or vendor means all persons, firms, and corporations, as well as their agents who engage in temporary. Temporary is an underlined word here, because the very next definition of temporary means any such business transacted or conducted in the city for which a definite arrangement has not been made for hire. So, if the arrangement has been made for hire, it seems plausible to me that the company doing the work should be able to post their sign in the yard where they're doing the work.
I think there's a difference in saying.
They have to pull a permit.
This is the contractor doing it, then free estimates or veteran discount, and that's some of the signs we're actually.
So Jeff, what is it you're really asking for specifically?
So-
Or you want, if somebody comes in, my wife just put a new roof on her house in League City. And the contractor came out there and put a sign in her yard. They do it all the time. They have a very strict HOA. Well, they didn't remove it when they left. It sat there for 3 or 4 days and we took it down. Now, are you saying that sign can't, is there a time frame limit on that sign, or that sign should be able to stay up there while they're doing the work, or 10 days after they're doing the work, or forever?
I think there should be definitely a time frame on that, but I think we as a council should leave somebody's sign alone if that person is under contract having the work done in their yard, at their home.
I mean, I know where you're coming from.
But the only way that the city would know that they're under contract is if the contractor pulls a permit with the city.
It doesn't
right?
say that the city has to know that. That's why I'm saying it needs to be updated.
Yeah, my suggestion is we have Drew bring it up to date to say those type of things. If the roofing company pulls a permit, they have the right to put a sign in the citizen's yard, not the ditch or the utility easement, for example, for 3 days while they're working on the house, or something along those lines. That would help to make it a lot clearer.
Clarification, that's what I'm asking for.
Exactly. I think that we could basically table this issue until Drew can bring us a better version of this ordinance, because we really can't suspend an ordinance, we can actually improve it. That would be my suggestion.
That's good.
The elephant in the room, is this coastal roofing? Is that,
That's any of them. Coastal was just the most recent.
okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question.
And there was another one up here with Abco Roofing that disappeared as well.
Okay. As a general contractor, have you used coastal roofing?
Never have.
And have you ever sold any roofs for coastal roofing?
Never have.
Okay. Just wanted that to be on the record.
Never have. Jerry and I have been friends for a very long time, but as friends and as church acquaintances.
Well, that shouldn't matter. I mean, there's some principle that's involved.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Okay,
any
so-
more discussion?
So just a little bit, so, instead of having Drew rewrite this thing, I think we need to determine what we're trying to add to and take away, and then he can draft it up. Because he doesn't know what we're looking for. We do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it
So you-
follows state law. Yeah.
Yeah, this, I'm telling you, this is meant to track state law. It's
Yeah.
it's the First Amendment rights on, so this, it may be
Free
confusing,
speech.
but it's to wind its way through, look, it's commercial speech versus free speech.
Do you know what Jeff is asking for?
Not right now, but I have a suspicion, so I need to do a little bit more work, and then, but it's not just Jeff, it's everyone else needs to tell me what it is, y'all. Tell me what it is, and I'll
Well,
change it. That's what
can-
Jerry said was.
Can we put it on the agenda
We
for
can
our
table
next
it.
meeting?
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss that.
That'd
And
be
then
fine.
we'll do a bullet thing and say, okay, this is this, and then we'll present that to Drew so that Drew can say, well, you know, this bullet point won't work because this is, you know, in violation of the
Y'all
law.
talk to your constituents.
This
see
one will
what
work.
size they want it, or pack next month.
But I strongly agree with, you know, the ordinance as far as, I was one of the ones putting signs up. And if we're gonna let people put signs up, I'm gonna put them up. I'm gonna tell you that. And so they'll be at every stop sign. I mean,
That's
I'll
not-
have them up. I mean,
That's not the principle.
No, I mean, if you suspended an ordinance, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Because the first time a tree company sees a sign up, they're gonna put in one right beside it. And then the next one's gonna put
I
one,
had
and
a
the next.
corner lot, in Beaumont, I had a corner lot with a pole.
Oh, they nail them to
It
them.
was chock-a-block and daily, it would come take them down, but it was like,
Well, the city of Beaumont has a different way of doing it. They call you your phone number and they say, this is the city of Beaumont, and you got 2 days to get that sign down or we're gonna start fining you. And the sign comes down.
But you know, there's,
All right, next item.
there's something different between putting a sign up, going down Sweet Gum Road on a right-of-way and putting a sign up in your yard. Because, me personally, it's my property, and if I want to put a sign in my property, I'm going to put a sign in my property. And as a homeowner, I'm not going to leave that sign there for the next 20 years because I don't want it there. But if someone did a good job for me, I like to display
And
it.
that's your-
Keep it there as
that's your
long as I
First
want.
Amendment
there's
right.
definitely.
It's my property.
Yeah.
But I do think there's
First
a motion
Amendment.
to table it.
Yeah.
So y'all
Let's-
need to
Let's go ahead and
I'll
make a
say,
motion.
who made the
Well, I'm
motion?
not going to be here for the next one, so I want to say my
It
part
could be
right
right
now.
out there. You could come in and get one of those little tickets.
No, I need more than 3 minutes.
Who's making the motion to
Well, you
table
can get
this?
three,
get all
you can
three,
get
all
three,
three.
that gives you
Oh, we'll
six.
table it.
I'll
I'll make
make
the
the
motion to table it.
All right, we got a motion and a second. We're gonna table this until our next meeting. Next item up for consideration.
Wait a minute, we gotta
discussion-
vote on it, don't we?
Oh,
Who made
all in,
I made the motion,
Jeff,
TJ.
I'll
To
say,
table it.
Second. Thank you.
yeah.
Second?
All in favor
and
of
it's-
tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our next item for consideration, discussion, and approval of ordinance for canvassing the November the 5th, 2024 election results. Any discussion?
What does that mean?
Meeting-
Just quick result, this is a required, under the Texas Election Code. Canvassing means that y'all have reviewed the results that were provided by Jefferson County. And the canvassing tabulation was attached to the proposed ordinance. If we don't do this, we're in a spot of trouble, but we're gonna do it. And so this is a required part of electing new officials.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did we have a motion and a second?
No, you didn't.
I'm gonna make the motion.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are at the end of our first half. We're going to start with reports, starting with Councilman Emmons.
Okay, first of all, on something that I've noticed, that it's been happening for a while, and matter of fact, even the roads and stuff, whenever they first did the new pavement stuff, we was already seeing cracks in the pavement, okay? Now, they did agree to go ahead and come in and fill those cracks in at that time. We've gotten a lot more, and we've gotten some that's a lot bigger, okay? And they've already told us too, that if those do not get filled in, your roads will come apart, okay? I'd already contacted precinct 1. They do not have the equipment to do the filling of the cracks. Okay? I called several different companies I found online and stuff to do, that say they do filling, but they don't, when I called them. I even tried to find the name of the company that did the filling of those for when they first do it, and I can't never find his contact information. So this is something that's going to need to be done. I did look up and found where we could buy a machine to do it with. It's only $1,500 for the machine. But then you have to have the tar stuff that goes with it, and then propane bottles, then somebody to do it. Okay? So, you talking about your little fund deal here that's gonna be left over, that's a ideal place to put some of that money. Okay? So we can keep our roads, get those on up. Back up to where they were, fill in these cracks. Let's keep them back in good shape. We haven't done anything else with the rock and stuff that's over there because we've been waiting on the elections and everything to be over with. Brandon did win, okay? I know Brandon, several of us know Brandon real well, okay? But things that people need to remember about Precinct 1, okay? We have an inter-city agreement for them to come out and do work. It's very, very restrictive, okay? We only get about 1 week a year for them to come out and do ditch work. They only do 1/2 mile a year road work, okay? So, and even though Brandon's in there and he's new, I'm gonna say he's new to the position. Okay? Because I've met with the previous person and stuff and Judge Brennick several times. The very first thing Judge Brennick brings up every time, and Judge Brennick is the one that's actually over Precinct 1 roads. Okay? Very first thing he brings up every time I sit down and talk with him. So what have you done to help yourself? It's the very first thing he brings up every time. So we have to be able to show that we do some work ourselves. Bud's helped out, I've helped out and stuff doing pothole fills. Okay? That's one of the type of stuff he's looking for. Okay? Now, we're restricted on, just because of the equipment and stuff we have, we can't do roads. Okay? We don't have the equipment and stuff to do that with. So, so we're gonna have to see, and we're gonna have to see what we can do. We've got them to get finished what they started to begin with, okay? And I'm gonna be available anytime I need to be, because I want to pursue them to finish the roads that they started, because we did an agreement with them that it was gonna take, because it's about 2 miles road, a little over 2 miles road. So we agreed that we would let that be enough road work for 4 years, but they haven't finished it yet. Okay? The reason why they didn't finish it, because they said the rock, was something wrong with the rock. I think I talked about this last meeting, a week meeting before. I actually had a sample of that rock sent off and have it tested. And it does meet state specs, DOT specs, but barely. Okay?
Do you have those results to
Yes.
present?
Yeah, Sabrina's got them, okay? So that's what happened was whenever they were putting the rock down and they were rolling it and stuff, it was crushing, creating dust, okay? So what we were told was they have to reduce the weight on the roller to put it down with, okay? So that's what I'll be happy to help pursue that. Since I started on that project, I want to see it through. So
we're talking about just the road that the precinct themselves have done, correct?
right. And
Which
that's
is
Shipley,
Shipley.
Did they have a testing laboratory out there?
pardon?
Did they have a testing laboratory out there
Probably not.
Holy pattern or anything.
Probably
No.
not. Probably not.
And if I'm not
Well-
mistaken, Doug, we as a city were also supposed to give volunteer hours to precinct one?
Yes.
For like the food initiative and things like that? This
Matter of
city
fact, I've done
had-
it a couple of times
I've
myself.
done it myself.
Do what?
The city is supposed to give volunteer hours to precinct one for part of the services that they give us.
Well, one of the questions I just wrote down here is that Doug mentioned, this is the first I've ever heard of an agreement with precinct one.
It's the
Correct.
Where is
interlocal-
that agreement? How can we get a copy of that
Been there
agreement?
We have it in the
forever.
office. The
in the office.
interlocal agreement's been in place forever.
It's called an inter-city agreement. It's been,
All right, no,
they have it with us, China,
Okay.
and
It's
us.
very broad, it's an interlocal agreement.
And it's
to exchange
all-
services.
It is so old, it's unreal.
well,
Right,
whatever it is,
so-
it's what it is, but the other comment I got, if the rock barely meets specs, it meets specs.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I don't care whether it barely meets them or it over exceeds them, they need to get it done. And if they don't know how to operate their equipment, I dang sure don't, they find somebody that does.
Well,
Well,
we're not gonna be able
we
to
don't,
hire.
we don't have that kind of funds.
That's, I know that. But my point is that they've got to be competent in what they do.
Correct.
And
Correct.
they are. They
We're
built
talking-
some, they built some great roads.
What
Yeah,
they,
down
we
here.
talking about here in our city, they didn't do a
Yeah,
great
keep
job
running.
in our city. This is what it's fine, they did a great job wherever, Timbuktu, Beaumont, but we're talking about here in Bevil Oaks, what they did in Bevil Oaks.
That was on.
It seems like
Ship.
we're accepting being a stepchild. We're talking about taxpayer dollars that's being spent for these guys to do their job. We voted them in to do their job. They need to do their job because they're competent, are supposed to be competent engineers like he just asked. Why, has it been lab tested?
The rock's been.
Yeah, that's all.
You know, so, I'm talking about after that. I mean, are they not competent enough to know how many pounds their equipment can actually, be used to actually roll over these roads to where it won't affect the integrity?
Okay.
So
let's-
I'm just saying, I mean.
let's back up a
We
little
need
bit
to
more.
hold people accountable in these professions when it comes to spending these thousands of dollars, these hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because we're talking about taxpayer money.
Okay, let me back up just a little bit further, okay? When we first approached them, we approached them right after we had this other road work done, when we got that grant for the road work, okay? And we told them what we wanted to do. And they said, okay, here's what you need to buy, because we have to pay for the material. The city does, okay? They provide the equipment and the labor, and we provide the material. They told us who to contact, how much to order, and everything, okay? And that's exactly what we did. So that's why I'm saying I want to stay kind of involved in this, because I'm going to hold their feet to the fire, because we ordered exactly what they said.
Well, I mean,
And we ordered the amount of what they said.
This is an old discussion.
Yes.
My question on the new stuff, do you have any estimated idea of what the cost is gonna be to seal the new cracks?
No.
What's wrong with
This is
the, going to
basically-
our
That's-
LJA and getting their
This
recommendation?
is basically his report on his way out.
I know it, but I'm questioning, I mean, I understand that, but he's saying he wants to stay involved, so, I've still got some questions
Yeah.
on that. I mean, this is good information that we need to pick up and make a handoff on, but, it's like,
I mean, being that this is an
it looked to me like
ongoing-
that, what they did with that rubberized stuff in the cracks
But
is
Jim,
holding up pretty good that they
Being that
did.
he's on his way out, how about if I pick somebody who's going to be on his way in for the roads, so those two guys can continue
I
on the
got no
conversation?
problem with
And I'm not trying to interrupt you, I'm just trying
That's
to
fine. That's
facilitate
fine.
to have him finish his speech.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to, but some of this was new to me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, now, finishing up on the precinct one's part, one of the other things that I want to hold our feet to the fire to is because we bought how much material they said they were going to need to do what roads and stuff that we had identified. And it's obvious we bought more than what we're gonna need, okay? So, I wanna hold their feet to the fire and say, here's how much material you had us to buy, you're gonna use it. You're gonna fix more roads than and instead of us sitting there on it till some other time, okay? So, anyway, there's lots of little things going on with this, and that's why I don't really want to walk away from it, because I feel like I've already got a lot done in here, so, and I want to make sure it gets done.
I think the roads are in better shape out here. I've been here 30 years, okay? There's probably people that have been here longer than that. But I think the roads as a whole, and don't want to get in trouble for leaving out the end of the boulevard or leaving out a part of Thousand Oaks. But the roads out here are fabulous compared to what.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with that.
Over the period of time. Fabulous.
I agree with that.
We still got some areas and stuff that needs some
Couple of
work.
spots
so.
we need to fix, and we're gonna get them fixed.
Yeah.
But to Lonnie's point, they could have done better. I mean, but it's spilt milk now, really. I mean, I don't know. I voted to not accept this. Whenever it got to that point, I said, I'm not voting for this. We need to talk to that man right there
What are you talking
about the roads and
Which
and the
part of
cracks
the
in the
road?
roads.
Oh, you're talking about the blacktop?
Yeah.
Not the county's part?
No, not the
Okay.
county.
The blacktop, that decision was made before we got on council.
No, Doug was over that.
I know, but it started right in December, the decision.
Well, I know that on my watch, the roads were all cracked up. And matter of fact.
Oh, you're talking about the cracks in the new road?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's talking about the new, he's not talking about county.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
they even admitted it before we ever signed off on it for them to get paid, that type of stuff happens.
You know, the trees
Well,
suck out the
I've
moisture.
noticed it all over.
Well, okay then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else,
good
Doug?
job.
Welcome to Southeast Texas. This is the way the ground around here is. So, I mean, I don't know how much time you spent actually watching them do the work, but they did a fantastic job of doing the subsoiling. And that's where the key is to make the roads stay. Okay? They went down about 18 inches, I think it was, and did new subsoil. So it's not like what Precinct 1 does, come in and spray oil and put bark on top of it. No, they went down and they
Yeah,
did
I
the
saw
base. So they did a hell of a job. They really did.
And if I may, the only problem with that, to be able to see it visually, but when they have no data from a testing lab guy.
Oh, they do, the blacktop does.
They did?
The blacktop absolutely had an
Yeah, the
independent,
blacktop, but I'm talking about the
Shipley.
precinct 1.
Precinct 1, that was just a whole nother ballgame.
That's
You'll find out a lot more about that.
Yeah, we're kind of mixing some roads together.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, when you're talking about the blacktop now, the blacktop, they had not only their inspectors, but there was an independent inspector out here making sure the ground temperature was the right temperature.
Moisture.
Tar, moisture, they were checking everything. Okay, there was an independent guy.
Because I've done that, I worked for a testing lab for 14 years, so that's why I know a little bit about it. A little bit.
That's good, we're gonna bring you some rock to take home.
I got a shovel for her.
Okay. All right, that's all I got. Thank you.
Doug, thank
Gary,
you
go
for your
ahead and
service.
start
Thank
your
you for
speech.
your participation.
So, just before we get to me, Doug, there's nothing else that you want to say since this will be your last position here? I mean,
I'll say that I will not be on city council, but I will say I'll be very much involved in the city.
Good.
Okay? I'm not gonna turn around and just walk out. So I will be around anytime anybody has a question about anything that I can answer.
very good. So, the streetlights out here work really well. And they absolutely have for quite some time.
Still one out over there on.
Well, it's been reported.
Call-out system too.
It's been reported.
It's been out for about 2 years.
Yeah. Actually, the one on River Bend and whatever that other street was, they were actually fixing that last week. I don't even remember the name of the street, but nonetheless. So, you know, that, I was tasked with the monumental task of making sure streetlights burned and call-outs. And
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning, I wasn't on that one.
That's
One
why you
time.
were put in charge.
But at any rate, so, you know, this 2-year tenure for me has been, it's been an experience. It absolutely has. And I told Bud the other day, I think that the catalyst is here right now with these two coming in. Y'all could very easily have the best council you've ever had. But what it's going to take is you guys to work together. And we still have some islands in this deal. And that's got to stop. And, you know, the 2 years that I spent on this, even though the street lights was my job, I was working diligently to bring cohesiveness, because that's what it takes. And none of this should be personal. None of it. It's business. And out of the business, made some friends. And I've enjoyed it. But there's seasons for everything. And my season has passed. So I turn this torch over to you, Roger. And I think you'll do a good job. Stephanie as well. You guys knock it out of the park.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
It's your turn. We're going to move on to do the pre-oaths of office for Ward 1, 2, and 3.
This is where they break out the rubber hoses.
Pretty much.
She is.
You can sing it too.
I'm not.
You can do them all together.
Okay.
And technically Jim doesn't have to, but he needs to.
Jim?
Come on, Jim.
It's a refresher.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Roger Net,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money or thing of value,
or promised any public office
promised any public office
or employment for the giving or withholding
or employment for the giving or withholding
of a vote at the election
at the vote of the election
at which I was elected,
at which I was elected,
or as a reward
or as a reward
to secure my appointment
to
secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be,
so help me God.
so help me God.
One more. Okay, same thing, y'all repeat after me. Do I have to say that in the name?
No.
Okay. I state your name,
I, Stephanie Lehman,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of,
the duties of the office of
state your ward, your position,
Ward 1
Ward 2
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Okay, that's it. Welcome back.
Thank you, ma'am.
What?
Let me just sign it before they leave.
Oh, yes, I'll get them signed before they leave.
Yeah, don't leave until y'all sign it.
Yeah, oh, we're good to go. Now y'all can take y'all.
We're gonna go into executive session at this point.
Okay,
Our,
We have to adjourn the
are you
meeting.
done? Gary's done?
Yeah, y'all have to adjourn the meeting.
Gotta adjourn the
Adjourn
meeting.
meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Can't vouch for how many snakes we're
They're not
gonna.
listening.
I got something for that.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Yup.
Make a
Y'all
motion.
leave?
A second.
I don't know what.
Motion.
Maybe some super secret.
All right,
man. Appreciate it. Good luck.
No problem.
Write it down by executive session.
Wait a minute, are we adjourning?